people
It's really hard.
also have.
You know, the world's changed since, you know, I grew up in the meat and potatoes era, you know, eat anything that moves. Nobody was thinking about sustainability. I think the thing we have to remember with many fish, although this is changing, is that it's still the last domain where we're hunting wild animals. And it's just not sustainable in the long run when you consider there's going to be 9 billion of us in the not too distant future. But there are still some fish that you can eat sustainably. My feeling is, you know, select wisely. It's hard sometimes to know what fish are sustainable because many times you don't know what you're eating. You go to the store, places like Whole Foods are good about labeling the fish, but others you
Yeah.
have no idea.
There used to be,
So
Monterey Bay Aquarium used to put out a list of sustainable fish. I don't know if they're still doing
yes,
that.
yes, the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch. It's an app for your smartphone, and it's fantastic. But it still requires work.
Yeah.
It still requires work because if you consider Alaska salmon, which are some of the most sustainable, it depends not only that they're Alaska wild caught salmon, but what region and sometimes even what part of a particular river they're caught in. So I sometimes joke that you have to be a PhD to really get it down and know what you're eating.
And it's amazing if there's any salmon left because it's so popular and it's so good for you. It's on every menu, literally, and most often ordered, I would suspect.
Yeah, and most of it's farmed, much of it in Vancouver, British Columbia, I should say. And they're farming Atlantic salmon in the Pacific, basically. It's been shown that these fish are able to transmit disease to the wild populations. There has been escapement. All of that waste going into those fjords has tremendous impact. So there's a lot of reasons not to eat farmed salmon from British Columbia.
In general, is farmed fish not a good idea?
Recently, the graphs have crossed. We're actually now eating more farmed fish than wild caught fish on a global scale. So this becomes a very important question. The majority of farmed fish are farmed in a way that's not very sustainable. Let's stick with salmon for just a second. If you look at Chile, mass die-offs of these are farmed in net pens just offshore. Again, the amount of organic waste and disease and infecting wild populations, it's been disastrous. On the other hand, there's new technology. These are recirculating aquaculture systems that recirculate 99% of their effluent. You can grow hydroponic vegetables using the excess nutrients. Some of these farms actually make more money on the microgreens than they do on the fish. The fish become pets, I guess. But I've seen these systems in action in places like Malaysia and Denmark and in the United States. And what's great about it, just like these I forget what you call them, these little setups with lights that you can use to grow your own vegetables in your home, you can have this, you know, in a building in Chicago, you could have fish farms stacked up vertically in a building and grow fish that's very fresh to market and do it sustainably. And no effluent whatsoever, doesn't have to be near the ocean. This is still evolving. There's a group called the Recirculating Farms Coalition that a good friend of mine, Marianne Cuffone, runs. This, I think, is the technology for the future for farmed fish.